The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Go Cowboys! This is the Players Lounge, broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star. Now your hosts, Barry Church, Danny McClay, and Newy Scruggs.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a beautiful, beautiful morning here in the DFW Metroplex. It's your boy, Barry Church, just your average box safety. Over here, joined as usual by the ultimate survivor, the cook himself. I seen you on Instagram cooking it up. It looks pretty good over there.
Look gumbo.
Danny McClay in the house as well. Our other counterpart, Newy Scruggs, is on assignment.
Big time.
Big time. He's covering the Super Bowl. So, he's left us hanging there over here in the SWBC studios. But once again, this is the Players Lounge, brought to you by Hotels.com. And Danny, I'm gonna just jump right into it because it's been on my mind. It's been on my mind these past couple hours, and it's just for what did we see yesterday? And I'm talking about the Pro Bowl here. Like when we was growing up, Sean Taylor was playing in there, smacking punters. You had guys giving effort, tackling. Guys were really trying to go out there and win the MVP of this game and show what they really have and give the fans what they want. But yesterday, I've seen walkthroughs more intense than that. What's your thoughts on this Pro Bowl situation?
Man, look, let me tell you something. Me turning on the Pro Bowl would have been something that you should all be surprised about. One because you already know you are a former player, okay? Yeah. Let me tell you something. Mm-hmm. If you go out there and you get hurt in the Pro Bowl and have to miss an extended period of time, you are going to look like a straight-up butthole. You're going to be like, man, like, what was I thinking? Yeah. Like, what was I thinking? Like, why did I go out there? Was it worth it for me to go out there? You're not making your full check, right? Mm-hmm. You're out there really to have a good time and celebrate the fact that you played well enough and people respected your game well enough to get you voted into there. I'm not going out there to get hurt. Talking about old school, and then I seen the old school dudes. They mad, back in the day when that's old school dudes usually stuck in old school.
Stuck in their ways.
What they're not seeing is these dudes know each other more than those old school dudes knew each other, right? Yeah. Like dudes are working out together, they taking trips together, they on Instagram going back and forth. Mm-hmm. So a lot of these dudes are more than just associates. This ain't their first time meeting each other. Like they know each other. So yeah, they not gonna go out here and talk. What are we talking about, bro? They got other stuff to do.
So should the league switch it up? Should they switch it up to like a flag football or like something like that? I feel like it'd be a little bit more juice to it if that was the case. But we seeing guys out there. They was catching the ball on the flats, doing a little 1-2, and then all right, let's tag them off. What's the point of playing the game?
The game is it is not a football game. All right, so look, they should find a different way to market it. It's not a football game. Dudes ain't about to go out there and get tackled, so you can be mad that you accidentally hurt your partner. He supposed to be working out in March. Like I
understand that part.
And the moment that it happens, then somebody's gonna be like, oh man, that's crazy, man. But he went out there and played for the Pro Bowl.
So you saying it's similar to college kids opting out of their bowl games when they're not in the college football playoff?
Absolutely. Listen, they better be lucky them dudes showed up. All right, it's a lot of dudes who were supposed to show up and they're like, nah, I'm good, bro. So would you rather them like do that? Or would you rather them show up and still give the fans a little something to watch? Or you just want everybody to be like, hey man, I ain't doing it. I'm a Pro Bowl guy. I'm staying at home. I'm not going out to Vegas and do all that craziness.
I'm with you on that one because I understand, the NFL, they want to market their brand out there. So they want to have the fans enjoy it. They don't want the fans go home and say, man, what did I waste my money on this? But, I get it from the player's perspective as well. Like you said, you can't, what if you go out there and tear an ACL? It's so late in the season. It's after the season. So you wouldn't be ready again until maybe midway through the next season. So I understand why the players, take it lax and don't really show any effort out there. I understand that case. But to me, I'm just like, why even have the game? Make it like a flag football tournament, 7-on-7 or something like that, and that'll at least have a little bit more excitement than going out there and playing two-hand touch, fully padded.
So I think it's an NFL problem. But then you also, because I got to keep on going on, because I seen all the old school dudes hating. There's a lot of hating going on. So this year specifically, dudes done played 17 games, all right? Yep. Some of these dudes got eliminated and didn't even make the playoffs. So they at home on the couch chilling with their family.
Ain't working out.
You know what I'm saying? And then you like, all right, listen, Hey, make sure you stay in shape because you got that Pro Bowl game coming up where the film don't matter. You know what I'm saying? The actual winning and losing, it don't matter. Only reason they don't complain about that in the NBA is because one is in the middle of the season. These dudes they in shape. They still have to go out and play afterwards. And then they only play hard in the fourth quarter. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But All-Star Weekend is set up so differently to where it's like a true celebration. And Pro Bowl is just probably like the season over with. Like, think about the dudes who were done in December, like January 9th. Like, bro, so a month later, I got to go out here and do what?
So should they put some incentive on the game? Like, I know it's after the season, so it's not like they can say, whatever side wins, the NFC gets, home field advantage or whatever. You can't really do that because, it's not in the middle of the season. So should they put some type of incentive, like maybe money-wise, maybe, draft pick-wise? I don't know, because they got to make the game, because right now, there's no point in watching.
It's done.
It's a wrap.
What you saw is what you're going to get, okay? The people who really get something out of the Pro Bowl are the people who actually went to Vegas, the fans who went out there and they were able to watch the skills and drills and get the autographs from the guys that they wanted. Those are the people who are really getting something out of it. All right, I don't think it's anything you can do about it.
Imagine going like you a gambler. You in Vegas. You gamble on the game. I think they go and then you see the effort that they putting out there. Ooh,
you a bad gambler. If that's what if you was going out there to bet on the Pro Bowl, knowing like this ain't the first time them dudes was out there playing like that. All right,
nah.
Like remembering what Sean Taylor did, if that stuff happened today, dudes would be in some serious trouble, bro.
Yeah.
There'd be some real beef going on if somebody went out there and smacked the receiver coming across the middle.
Sean Taylor smacked Brent Anger.
Yeah, bro, come on, bro. Yeah. It ain't the same. It ain't the same. Old school dudes, it ain't the same. Y'all was out there wilding. The young, we work smarter, not harder. All right. All these dudes, they at home, they healthy. They healthy. They with their family. They not in the hospital walking around because they tore ACL or ruptured Achilles out here going hard for a Pro Bowl game. And actually, in the grand scheme of things, the game doesn't mean anything to their, like, they already made it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? They're a Pro Bowl player.
You're good.
And by the way, the winning team gets $80K each.
Okay, so there's a little incentive on it.
And then the losing team gets $40.
It's a little incentive on there.
These are Pro Bowl players, bro.
Is nothing.
These dudes got fined $80,000. They got fined $80,000. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe you need to play for your off-season adventures. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, how about this? So now you get a workout bonus for $200,000, but now you can't even show up to workout because you made 80.
So you in the whole 120.
You in the whole 120. You can't even show up, and now you might lose your spot. Because you see boys getting wildly pimped out here.
Left and right, people get wildly pimped.
Don't let it be you.
Exactly.
Hey, the skills competition was more competitive.
Exactly.
To be honest with you.
Exactly, CB. So before we dive into Dan Quinn and the comments Jerry made, let's talk about this skills competition because that's what I watched. To be honest, once I turned on the real Pro Bowl game, I was like, man, I ain't watching it. So the skills challenge. We had two of our guys competing. I think it was the fastest man competition. I don't know if it was 40 yards. I don't know what they were racing, but it was a 40. It was a 40. It was a 40. So the two players we had in there, Micah Parsons, Trayvon Diggs, and the other two were the Cheetah, Tyreek Hill, and Nick Chubb, the running back out of Cleveland. Now, going into this, I know Micah Parsons ran what? He ran like a 4.3 something in at the combine. So I know he was going to show out. We know the type of guy he is. He's a competitor. Anytime there's some type of competitive juices going on, he wants all a part of it.
He's a young guy.
He's young, exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
He's a young guy.
You saw what Tyreek did.
Yes. He's a young guy.
That would have been my approach as well. So going into that, you saw what the guy was able to do in that 40-yard dash. Does that further cement him as being one of the most explosive players, especially being a rookie in the National Football League? I mean, I know Tyreek didn't really try like that. He came out the blocks jogging. He had his full suit on, so he really wasn't going like that. But Diggs and Chubb, they were trying. And that's a corner and that's a running back going against a linebacker / defensive end. Did it further solidify anything for you in that regard?
No, sir. I mean, 4-3 is 4-3. It don't matter what position you play, all right? So once he cemented the fact that he was running that fast, I wasn't surprised that he was there. Well, I also wasn't surprised that Tyreek Hill didn't sprint. Like I said, Tyreek Hill is a vet in the game. He got nothing to prove. You could turn the film on and see how fast this dude is. All right, all you got to do is turn it on and see him waving at dudes breaking ankles.
You don't think Parsons could touch it, even if let's just say Tyreek tried? Like, I'm really in these boxes. I'm really getting out. You think Parsons would have had any chance?
To beat him, nah. I don't think it would have been a blowout of a race, but Tyreek Hill. The race I would like to see is Tyreek Hill and Jamar Chase.
That would have been a good one.
Just game film, game speed. Those are two dudes when you turn the film on and you watch how they just defeat angles of guys.
That's the thing.
And then you like, them dudes ain't slow.
Nah.
Dudes ain't slow.
Corners and safety, they ain't not slow at all. And that's what like you said. They're erasing angles out there. Like I watched on that. I think it was they played Cincinnati the first time during the regular season. I think it was week 17. And what's it? No, I'm sorry. It was the playoff game against the Bills. And Tyreek Hill caught that overtime pass or whatever. My man literally was piecing dudes out. They were 5 yards ahead of him. And he was piecing them out 5 yards behind him, knowing he was going to erase that angle. I mean, that's pure speed. And then, like you said, Jamar Chase, the way his ability to just gain ground on people, it's remarkable. That would have been a hell of a race to check out.
And listen, this is how you know dudes is fast, right? Mm-hmm. If your coach does not yell at you on the sideline when you getting burnt out there, anytime Tyreek Hill line up at number 3 in a closed formation with a tight end and he runs that over route, you can automatically assume that he's going to be open because nobody can run, step for step with him. Nah. And then the coach is just like, dang. There you go again.
There you go.
You can't
just keep him on the ground.
Yeah, you can't coach. You can't coach the dude to run faster, right?
You can't do that.
If the D line don't get there, Tyreek Hill is able to outrun anybody who's covering him.
Yeah.
So that's how you know dudes is fast when the coach is like, man, I got nothing. You remember we used to be like called a hamstring buster.
Oh man. I forget who used to be the hamstring buster on Brian McCann.
Yep.
That means your hammies are gone if you try to chase that man. That was a wrap.
Coach Baker used to be like, hey man, y'all make sure y'all stress for y'all get out there on that field today because I'm telling you, dudes is coming, okay? Play 10 yards, I'll play 12 yards. Whatever you got to do to make sure this dude don't get past you. Because you know he's just that fast.
Yeah, that dude's a hamstring buster. He's a hamstring buster. All right, now, but before we take our first break, we got a couple minutes before that first one. Let's dive into a little bit more Cowboys football. Let's get a little bit more deeper into this. Now, with all the reports going out there, Miami doesn't have their head coach hired. I forget his name. Mike McDaniels, I think his name.
The multiracial dude?
Yeah.
Oh, that is.
Why couldn't they just say biracial? The multiracial. I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I ain't gonna dive into it, but
hey man, look at the picture.
Look at the picture. I said, wait, what?
Look at the picture. You identify as whatever you want to, whatever. Everybody got that right, I guess. I don't know. But
just look at the picture, huh?
That ain't the problem. Okay, they talking about black coaches. I don't care. They talking about specifically black coaches. And the reason they talking about black coaches is because most of the league is black. Okay, that's what we're talking about. All right, so but whatever. Yeah, they hired him. So
Miami got their guy. And I don't know if Kellen has anything else lined up around the league as far as interviewing process, not sure, but from what it looks like, the guy might be coming back to Dallas, or he is coming back to Dallas. Do you feel like bringing him back as that offensive coordinator, do you feel like that makes this team that much better?
Better than who?
Better just as overall, just having him back on this offensive scheme or whatever offense we've been running these past couple years. Do you think that bringing him back is the right thing for the Cowboys?
Yeah, it was the last few years, and it ain't been good, okay? It's been the last few, okay? The year before Dak got paid, this was the year when Dak was on my fantasy team, and he was getting nothing but trash yards. We came here every week, we was like, trash yards. We know if Dak had 10 points in the first half, it didn't matter because he was going to get 25 in the second because they was going to be a slow-starting team who had to come back, and they still didn't have a good record, all right?
They didn't.
Before he got hurt, that next year, we were almost losing to Atlanta. What a watermelon kick. We were turning the ball over like crazy. We were not on pace to be a Super Bowl winning team or one of those offenses to where they are electric from start to finish. It was like we got to claw ourselves back in it. Same thing we saw this year. When you played against some good competition or the further that you got into the season, when you had to start switching stuff up because those defensive coordinators are able to see what you're doing, we were not able to be successful. So the only thing that can make this be a success with Kellen Moore coming back is if he goes, and this is no pun intended, if he goes in the lab.
We go another coach going into the lab.
Bro, he got to go into the lab, bro, and he got to sit back. He got to go in there. First, he need to look in the mirror and say, listen, whatever I did or whatever I'm doing with this specific quarterback is not working how it should be working, right, with the weapons that we have. then go in the lab with Dan Quinn and figure out how you can scheme up some other stuff, how you can get your guys in one-on-one position to say that I'm better than this guy and I'm going to beat him on the slant. I'm going to beat him on the face. Some of those Dez Bryant plays, some of that, like mine is better than yours, and we're gonna toss it up and see who can get it.
Okay.
Go in the lab, see if you can get that done, maximize the potential of your star players, and then I think the sky's the limit for us. But if you continue to be able to let defenses dictate what you're going to run based off what they scheme and what they show and how they disguise, it's going to be the same thing.
Yeah.
It's going to be the same thing.
I mean, I'm with you on that one because the guy, credit to this guy. He did have the number one offense, throughout the regular season, but that didn't correlate to more wins. We got to the dance and we weren't able to get over the hump. We weren't able to go out there and get the W against the San Francisco 49ers. And a lot of that is got to be on the offensive side of the football because defense, the 49ers were able to run the football on us. They scored on the first 4 possessions. But the defense in the second half, they held their own. They gave us an opportunity to go out there and win the game. Offensively, we just weren't able to get out of that slump. It just seems like we weren't able to get out of our way, whether it's, penalties, the defense just figuring us out, not enough creativity, whatever the case may be. We weren't able to get over that hump offensively. And that was supposed to be a strength, especially coming into this season, how loaded we are. We were supposed to have the 3,000-yard receivers. We got a $90 million back in the backfield and a great compliment back to him and Tony Pollard. Got the tight end situation, offensive line. It's not the best as it was in the past, but it's definitely nowhere, as bad as Cincinnati's offensive line is. So we had no excuses out there yet. Through the beginning of the season, it was all up. Oh, man, Dak's throwing the ball all over the place. This offense is clicking on all cylinders. We had 2 running backs in the top 10 rushing for the National Football League. The receivers are happy. Everything's going great. And then that calf injury happened, and he missed 2 games. And then after that slump happened, and it just seemed like we weren't able to get out of our own way. And like I said, I don't know if that was creativity-wise. Defense is just kind of getting the tape on Kellen and figuring out how to slow him down offensively or what the case may be. But in your opinion, what does this offense need to do next year to be able to be – I know they were the number one offense this year, but to at least get that number one offense and have wins to back it up as well?
I think you should not be focusing on being a number one offense. I think you should be focusing on being a balanced offense with an identity. You need to find a way to, when you're building this team for next year and you're putting it together, to say, this is what our identity is going to be, right? I'm going to go back to when we had the offensive line. Nobody had a question of what our identity was when we had Tyron Smith and we had Travis Frederick and you had Zach Martin. It was no question. Every defense that we played knew exactly what they was going to get for 60 minutes on Sunday. You was going to have to see them dudes. You was going to have to see Zeke. You was going to have to see DeMarco. And then you was going to have to Dez was going to be in a one-on-one, right? You knew exactly what was going to happen, and they couldn't stop it. So the number one thing they do, you need to find a way to find some balance, get some identity, so your team knows exactly who they are while they're going through the season, because nobody knew what we were.
Do you think do you think the offense is trying to feature a strength that really isn't a strength? I know Dak Prescott's a hell of a quarterback. He's a hell of a player. I wouldn't call him elite or anything like that, but he's a hell of a player. Do you think what we're doing offensively is just trying to highlight him too much instead of being more of that balanced, highlight Zeke a little bit here, not put everything on Dak Prescott's shoulders? Do you think that might be some of the disconnect here between being a number one offense and not correlating the victories?
Yeah, I'm just going to say I believe that it is, I don't want to say overthinking, but it's getting close to overthinking of like how can we draw up the play and make sure the read happens perfectly every time to where you have to hit the right person every single time versus sometimes you got to throw some contested balls. These dudes got to make some contested catches. Yeah. Sometimes the hole is going to be clogged up, but you got a $90 million guy back there. You got Tony Pollard back there. Yeah. Sometimes the player is going to have to make that play, right? It doesn't have to be perfect every time, but you have to get these dudes involved in the game so they can show you why they are special. Right now, we not letting dudes show why they special. We just letting dudes run routes, and then if they open based off whatever the defense gives you, then that's what they got. But that's not why you pay dudes. Yeah. That ain't why you pay Amari Cooper $100 million. You pay him $100 million because you know that if he lines up one-on-one, that he can route this dude up and he should be open. Yeah. You pay Zeke $90 million because you know if you give him 20 carries, your record is almost 4-1 on dubs.
Hell of a lot better.
That's why you paying this dude $90 million, right? When Ezekiel Elliott was out, when he was suspended up 6 games, why did we feel like the season was over?
Because he was that guy. He was the identity.
That guy, right? It's the identity, and we just don't have that right now. Oh, Zeke, he pass blocking and he doing good, and nobody. What?
don't want a pass blocker. We want to run it back in the back.
$90 million. No, run the ball, bro. What are you doing? Zeke is special. He can still be special. But if you don't give him the opportunity, like Jerry said, you're going to waste a career.
All right.
You are going to continue to – you're going to waste Tony Pollard's career. You're going to waste Zeke's career. Coop, I don't know what they're going to do with Coop this year and all these other guys. But you put in some money on some guys, and you're going to be like, man, my ROI just did not come back.
It didn't come back at all. All right, well, we're going to take our first break here. This is at the SWBC studios here at the Star. When we get back, we're going to dive into a little bit of these free agents or who's going to stay, who's not. Amari Cooper, D-Law, also comments what Jerry said about bringing back defensive coordinator Dan Quinn. And we also have the great, the legendary Will McClay, the one that's been hitting on all of these draft picks these past couple years. We'll have him in the studio probably around our third segment, but this will be our first break. This is Players Lounge brought to you by Hotels.com here at the SWBC studios.
At Smoothie King, we are blending goodness to fuel your greatness. Every blend is crafted to help you achieve your health and fitness goals. Smoothie King uses only whole fruits and organic veggies. You'll never find sugary syrups or artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives. And unlike some other smoothie places, there are 0 grams of added sugar in many of our blends. Smoothie King is proud to be the official smoothie of the Dallas Cowboys. Place your order in the app or online for pickup or delivery. Smoothie King, rule the day.
It's game day. You know what that means. First, kebab prep. Steak, pepper, onion, steak, pepper, onion. Next, a counterclockwise lap around the room. Now the lucky grease-stained jersey goes on. And lastly, the dance. You know the one. This is a game day ritual no matter where you are. Whether you're traveling to the game or watching from your favorite vacation spot, book a place to stay on Hotels.com and keep the tradition alive and well. Hotels.com, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black? Right now, you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites, plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
Brace yourself for an existential question. Has your butt been having enough fun lately? Have you been treating it well? Has it been going places? If not, then it's about time you start using SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the best way to get your butt tickets to live events. Just ask the thousands of other butts who have rated it the #1 ticketing app. So what are you waiting for? Download the app now or visit SeatGeek.com to get tickets to sports, concerts, and live events and make your butt happy. SeatGeek. Get your seat in a seat.
Back to the Players Lounge.
Back here at our SWBC studios, this is the Players Lounge brought to you by Hotels.com. And Danny, I used Hotels.com to, get my mountain trip situated. So, yeah, they get me right, man.
Did they take birthday? They took care of you?
Yeah, they took care of me, man. So make sure if you traveling within, anywhere within the United States, Hotels.com. They'll get you right, man.
I need the Barry Church code, though, because I know your code is a little different than mine.
It's about the same. Let me
get the promo code. Let me get that promo code,
It's about the same, but... CB, he got a little bit of Jerry's audio that we're going to listen to here about Dan Quinn and bringing him back to this Cowboys organization. I know my boy Danny over here is excited about it. So, CB, can you roll that audio for us, please?
What we really did the hard work on was to maintain Dan Quinn. And I felt that had a lot of different things, advantages. And I mentioned that I was so pleased with how we had stayed in communication with Dan, stayed in communication with his representatives, and how Mike had spent time and had his pulse talking to him, because all of us wanted Dan to stay. That was a key to our continuity here.
Well, you heard it here first, or you heard it at that interview. But, I know you're excited about this, Danny. I know you're excited because you was beating down the walls before anybody beat down the walls about bringing Dan Quinn back to this Cowboys organization, or just bringing him here in general. So what are your thoughts on the Cowboys bringing Dan Quinn back as their defensive coordinator, even though he was one of the hottest candidates in the league this offseason as far as getting a new head coaching job?
So far, definitely the biggest move of the offseason.
Okay.
And depending on who you can get in the draft, it might continue to be the biggest move of the offseason. I think what we missed in that video was Jerry Jones saying, kind of insinuating that guys like to stay here in Dallas, especially when they assume that they may be a potential head coach for the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, for the Dallas Cowboys.
Yes.
Guys, hold on now.
Guys have that kind of idea of like, hey, man, I want to be in Dallas. There's a potential for me to be a head coach. And he wants guys to think that. Right? He wants guys to think that. So you got last week you had Sean Payton, all that talk about Sean Payton. Now you got this talk about my man Dan Quinn. I'm just glad that Kellen Moore is not in the running to be the head coach for the Dallas Cowboys.
We don't know that yet. We don't know.
Oh, I know.
You know for sure.
Oh, I know. You got Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn up here. There is no way there's an elevation of Kellen Moore over Dan Quinn for head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. But I love it, man. In all seriousness or whatever, Kellen Moore, I don't have no issue with the dude. It's just all seriousness. Just poke. I don't know him. We play with him. I don't know the dude. But I think it's great. I think it's going to help Micah Parsons continue to be a better player. Depending on what we do with Tank, I think if Tank gets a full year under Dan Quinn, you will see a much better Tank. When he came back, he looked like a totally different player than what he was last year.
He did.
Depending on what you do with Randy, depending on how many tools you give this dude, you see he could make some noise. And that was just his first year where you seen him, they chopped it in half pretty much of like we were the worst. All of a sudden, we floating around the middle of the pack. Next year, if you give the dude the tools, then you should be able to get up into that top 10 defense, and I'll be asking for my bet back.
I don't know about top 10. I don't know. This defense will definitely get better.
I'll be asking for my bet back.
We gonna see. We gonna see. But I'm with you on this regard. I think Dan Quinn last year was definitely one of the biggest free agent acquisitions we got, if we can call it that. And I think it definitely proved dividends for this defense overall last year. And then bringing him back in that same type of defensive coordinator role to me is important because like you said, he got the most out of all his players. Because pretty much a lot of those players that were on that historically bad defense in 2020 were a part of this 2021-2022 season, and they played extremely well. I'm talking about Anthony Brown, Jordan Lewis. Look at what Diggs did out there. They were able to play extremely well out there. Even LVE, he came back and had one of his bounce-back years. He wasn't back to his Pro Bowl caliber, but he was definitely a solid player out there. So I think Dan Quinn definitely got the most out of all his players out there, production-wise, and another year under that system, they could be even better. I'm not sure what we're going to do with D-Law and those other guys and a lot of free agents on the defensive side of the football, but bringing back Dan Quinn definitely will prove dividends for this defense. I mean, when you got guys like, Curse coming in here, KZ, Brent Urban, you got a couple guys that, not really big known guys around the NFL, but he was able to go out there and turn Curse, who basically in Detroit and Minnesota was, a special teams guy. He played defense sparingly here and there. He turned that guy into one of the better safeties in the National Football League. I don't know if it was just his system or however he used them, but the guy was definitely highly productive out there as a safety. You look at KZ, he was able to do some pretty good things, even though he needs to work on his angles in the back end, but that's a story for another day. You got this defensive line who he works extensively with, D-Law, Urban, Odigizua, Gallimore, Randy Gregory. He works with those guys on an everyday basis, and he got them flying around. He had them flying around as well as Aiden. He's their defensive line coach out there. He had those guys flying around. So the importance of bringing back a Dan Quinn, to me, it's up there. It's extremely high up there, and this guy has proved dividends for this Cowboys defense and his organization overall.
And the culture of your team.
Yeah.
The entire team. We saw the entire team follow that swag that Dan Quinn came in with. Now, it didn't get us to the Super Bowl, but you can just feel it from around the building, from through our training camp, and you're hearing like how the defense is playing and all that. And you can attribute a lot of that to Dan Quinn. I think even Mike McCarthy got a little bit more comfortable knowing that he had a defensive coordinator who could really get the most out of his players on the other side of the ball. I think that also helped Mike McCarthy be better at his job as well. So it's huge that we got Dan Quinn back. Stay another couple years, my man, please. let the Cowboys be known for having a good defense. Let that be something, right? Because when is the last time we've been known for that, right? It's always been offense. Always been offense. Let's get the first round draft pick. Let's get Dez. We got Ron. We got DeMarco. Now we got a team to where we can get the defense rolling. So I'm okay if we get a 2000 Ravens type defensive performance from the Dallas Cowboys moving forward. I'm good with that.
And without further ado, we got the legend.
What's up?
The man, the myth, the legend, Will McClay, joining the Players Lounge here down at the SWBC studios. Thank you, Will, for stopping by to talk to me and my boy McClay right there.
On time.
Right on time. I don't know, you got it, what about 20 seconds off? Look like me out here.
That's why he is where he at right now. Okay?
Exactly.
Up early.
No, that's why I liked y'all, because y'all were on time, which made me be on time.
There you go. There you go. What's up, Will, man? How you been?
Good, man. Just got back from the Senior Bowl.
Okay.
A week of Mobile, Alabama. That's all I need to say.
I can see that.
I had one of my old teammates, Kelvin Shepard, is out there. He was coaching. Was he coaching linebackers?
Yeah, he was coaching
linebackers. He was having a hell of a time. He's out there in Detroit.
Oh yeah, he's a linebackers coach. Yeah. Okay.
So
okay.
He looked like he was doing a good job out there, man. So it's Mobile, so you got to look for the positives.
This is true.
Yes.
This is true.
Yeah.
All right, Will. So I ain't gonna hold you up too much, man. I just wanted to pick your brain a little bit here. Going into, you've been doing this for years now, scouting and then getting these picks in for these guys here at the Cowboys, and you've done an amazing job. I mean, from LVE to Parsons to Jalen Smith was out there for a while doing hell of work.
We ended up getting CD and Diggs.
CD and Diggs. I mean, your record's impeccable. So what goes through, the process in an offseason, like yourself, going through scouting these players, getting them, ready for the combine? Like, what are you looking for in these players to come to Dallas and help this team out?
At the end of the day, what we really need to continue to improve on is getting those dogs. We need to get those guys at the time when it's time to make plays, to make those plays. And as you build a team, you continue to do that. But when the season's over, we understand where our roster is. We go evaluate our roster. What players are free agents? What holes are we going to have? That whole process. Do it that way to talk about where our team is. And the college scouts have been out since August, going and looking at prospects, and so they've built all the reports, and we're continuing to find out about the players. And then we get to see them live, interview them, do all that stuff. That's what starts now, is like trying to find out what's on the inside. We can watch the tape and find out kind of their abilities. Now what's more important is finding out what's on the inside. Can they learn? Do they have the right stuff? And then do they fit what we do?
I got you.
So just off the topic a little bit, so I want to know how the new college system is affecting how you think about players, right? Because you see guys sitting out years. They might not play in the bowl game. They might be having a different mindset now because they might be making a little money before they even get to the league. I know back in the past, it's just like dudes is grinding so they can try to make some money for their family. They want to make sure that they get that. And then now you got guys who are freshmen going out there making $1 million here, $1 million there. So how does that affect how you look at a player, how much more research you have to do into who they are as a person?
It's ever evolving. You add that layer into it because, like you guys said, when we were coming up, it was ball, and you had to do something to put food on the table. Now these guys are getting opportunities in college to do that. So what's going to be their motivation for playing ball? That's where you got to dig in and find out about them. And I always say it's about scouting and what we do. We're asking people about people and putting them into another environment with people. Well, now you add the element of finances and what's in a dude's mindset, and it becomes more difficult. And so you really have to dig. You really got to call on, like, it's important for me to have guys like you interact with some of the young guys because y'all are younger guys but are old heads that kind of understand the new and the young age. So it's trying to get that information and really dissect it as much as possible because it's really hard because, for example, we had this hardline stance last year at the beginning of the process when you're thinking about guys who didn't play, guys who opted out. Well, now you got to find out what their why is. Why did they opt out? Okay, now you got to weigh some of that in with your thought process. And there's biases in everything we do. We try and overcome those and say, if we're going to look at this situation this way, let's make sure we look at the other situation with all the different variables, involved too, to try and help us make a better decision.
And it's crazy too, because two of the best players this season did not play college football. Parsons and Chase did not play college football.
Dude, that adds to it. Adds to it. And, we go to like the Senior Bowl and agents are pulling players out after a couple of days. And that's been common, but it's just more so now because there are some guys that didn't play last year and had success. So other guys think they can do that. Well, you might not be those two guys.
Everybody ain't
always remember that.
All right, so I want to ask another one. what is the evaluation of free agents? Like, because these past couple free agents that you guys have had, the Curses, the KZs, they've come here and they've balled out. I mean, Curse, when he was in Minnesota, when he was in Detroit, he was more just a special teams guy, came in here and did a couple of defensive snaps here and there. When you're evaluating guys like that, how did you know that he was going to be able to come here and be kind of that standout safety, kind of be that guy in the back end?
Yeah, and can you also add Parsons in there too? Because we also want to know, like, because when I wasn't here at that time when Parsons got drafted, and I was like, yeah, O-line, all sorts of stuff, and then people saw it though. Like, so just kind of go into
in regards to Curse and like pro free agents, college is projection. You're projecting these dudes in. When you go to pro free agents, it's more these guys are they're actually competing against NFL guys, and so you kind of look at the skill set. And for us, defensively and offensively, when you include players in there, that's where the communication with coaches and stuff. Okay, what's your vision for this player? Okay. What are you looking for? So then we go out and try and find the skill set, and there's evidence on that skill set on tape on NFL guys. You say, okay, if we coach him right, he can fit in this role. And I think with Dan and what we've done in the free agent parts, you got to feel for guys. Like, if both of you guys were free agents right now coming into the system, I would say, Danny McClay, boom, boom, boom. This is what he can do. This is what he can't do. Okay. Same thing with Barry Church. Coach, what are you looking for? Now these things fit, and it's actual to me. It's easier when you go UFAs. It's actual from a skill set standpoint. Now, what you still have to kind of wrap your mind around is who is the dude who you're bringing into the locker room. His skill set's one thing. Now, who you're bringing in, because the culture of the locker room, the fit, all that other stuff. And then when it comes to Micah, as far as players, I remember going through the draft meetings, and you look at, okay, he can do this, he can do that, he can do this. And all at a high level, but now it's how are you going to use him? That's the key. I always say it's about the Jimmies and the Joes, not the X's and the O's, but you got to figure out where Jimmy and Joe go within your X's and O's, and that's where the coaching comes in.
So with that, because I'm a Dan Quinn guy.
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
So in my mind, to me, I'm just thinking that Dan Quinn specifically, not shots at other coaches that have been here, specifically has an idea before you pick. Like, when you ask the guy, hey man, like, what am I going to do with him? What do I need him to do? Like a Curse. And Dan Quinn, in his mind, has that. He knows exactly what that is, and it's set in stone. Like, yeah, like I know exactly what I could do with a guy like that.
That's
right?
it. Yes, that's it. And that's the key to it. The NFL now is so there's so many roles and different players, and the way people do it, you have to match. Defenses have to match offenses now. Yeah. So you look at the skill set and what a guy can do, but it's not just doing the one thing, because you don't want a guy that can do one thing, because the team will flip it around and put a guy in motion, make him do. You got to be able to do two things. You got to be able to do it at a high level. Curse, for example, is able to cover tight ends. He's able to fit down in the box. He had the length and the physicality to be able to play in the box. There may be a guy who can cover tight ends but may not be big enough to fit in the box. So where does that fit within your defense and what you want to do? It's just so the NFL's become so role specific now, and it's because you're taking players from a college environment that the college environment is starting to eke into the NFL, but it's still the NFL with a few wrinkles in it. But so you have to fit those pieces in.
Hey, we talked about the Pro Bowl earlier today, so just a quick tidbit on that. What do you if your player is in the Pro Bowl, do you want them to go out there and play harder than what you're watching on TV?
Because it was some tag offs. It was.
But I'm saying, but is the risk worth the reward in your mind?
It's not. But well, for me, you want them to go out and see them play football every time. That's the old school in me. But there's also the reality of it, as those contracts are not guaranteed. There's different mindset that go into. Do I make that decision to hit somebody when it doesn't really count?
Right.
That's the tough part about it.
Like my AC joint was hurting 2 weeks ago. I've been on the couch. Now you want me to go ahead and hit this dude? Because I'm watching the game and I'm like, I understand. Yeah. I'm just happy y'all went out there and gave the fans something to actually watch. And then some of the fans are watching like, what? And I'm like,
yeah. But that's just like the NBA All-Star game. Okay, what do you want to do? You want to see scoring, have fun.
Right.
It's the reward of the game. We don't want to see our players that we're counting on the next year get hurt, right. And not be able to help our team. But, you're going to go out there, and now as a football player, old school style, I'm going to say, anytime I strap up, I'm going to give my best.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's a little bit different.
To your quarterback out there on the offensive line, where they don't know, and he
might
gets
not
sacked.
be here.
Yes.
So I got a little two-parter for you here. Two-parter. Part one, how impressed were you with Dan Quinn and his ability to basically turn this defense around and have them taking the football away almost as good as anybody in the National Football League? And then my second part, kind of a fun question: is this the best defensive line that you've seen here? Because we've been a part of some good ones with D. Ware, Hatch, and Ratliff, and all them guys. Is this one of the best defensive lines you've been a part of?
Well, number one, in regards to Dan and the defensive staff putting it together. I mean, when we play football, we all want something to believe in, and so if I have a coach that shows me that I can be better, how he can make me better, there's a unique way that, this season was a unique way to bring all that together. You had players that kind of felt that vibe and they were all working together, and hopefully you can build on that. That's the uniqueness of Dan. He can make you feel like and understand where you're coming from, your strengths and your weaknesses, and be able to communicate that with you. And that's a unique skill set in today's day and age when everybody's being paid, in college. And hey, how do I reach this dude? So, I think Dan and Mike do a great job with that, with trying to understand guys, so understand how to motivate them and get them to play. As far as the D-line, I think we're building that. It's nothing compared to, some of those lines we had when you had Ratliff, Hatcher, Spears, Bowen, Spence. All those guys. That was a unique. Now these are young guys, dudes that are coming. I think that there are some elements, but it's hard to say which one was better because I know there were some guys now.
They had some dogs now.
Yes.
Yeah, and you was on the team with them dudes. So when they call you and ask you why would you make that,
I just asked
that was not a Danny McClay question. Okay, I just saw D Ware the other day. All right, Hall of Fame guy. I did not. That is not my question.
That's not my question.
But so listen. Oh yeah. So I want to ask about my guy. Okay, my guy Lunda Wells.
Yeah.
Okay, because going into last year. I think it was last year, right? Blake Jarwin ends up getting hurt at the beginning, and then Schultz comes in. He has, to us, from our perspective, had a rough game just because he had to step in. We thought the lights were a little bright, and we were down on him.
Yeah, I was. I was.
And then you see what he's been able to do at the end of last year, and then all of this year becoming one of those staples for Dak Prescott, right?
Yeah.
And then I think a lot of times the tight end coaches, they get overlooked for being able to coach a guy to be that good, right? So he might have the skill set already, but what we saw from Dalton Schultz was you started saying, all right, Dak better find Schultz, right?
Security blanket.
When you got a guy like Coop, when you got a guy like CeeDee Lamb, and then Schultz is still able to make that type of noise within that offensive scheme, my man Lunda Wells.
Yeah, no question. It's Coach Wells. There's a standard that he has in the room, and he's going to hold everybody accountable to it. But then he has a way, again, of making guys better. Everybody that's in that room, they're pros. They're at the top of their game, but they always want to get better. So he finds little ways to make guys better, to drive and to make them, achieve their ceiling. He's going to challenge them in a way, and you got to be in that room, and it's got to be in you. And that's the thing about Dalton Schultz is he was in the room with Jason Witten first. He learned how to be a pro from Witten, and there's a lot of little Wittenisms in him, and how he attacks the position and how he runs his room and all that. But then it's Coach Wells holding him accountable, teaching him he can get to a higher level. When a guy can get to a higher level, the next level, I'm going to believe in you, and I'm going to get the young guys on your side too because of what you've done for me. And that's what Wells has done, and understanding the offensive line, being an offensive line coach, and then learning the passing game, he's bringing an element to tight ends that's different than maybe they've received before too.
Okay. Yes, I think I had Lunda at LSU, so me and that's
LSU.
Lunda's my guy, man. Just to see him be able to, because I think he went to New York, right, for a minute, and he was maybe like a GA or something.
No, he was a line coach. He had done some line coaching,
and so I seen him, and then now just to be able to see,
that's true.
That glow up, man. He just went from what I remember him being at LSU to what he is now, and the way he's able to affect these players.
Because were you here when he was an intern here?
Yeah, I was. Yeah. So it was intern here. Yeah. So he was intern here.
Yeah. Okay.
And that was when I first. I mean, we was kind of coming up together at that time.
Yeah.
I got one more for you on my side. How impressed were you? Because I know I was certainly impressed with the jump that Terrence Steele was able to make from year 1 to year 2, being that swing guy, being all over the offensive line, it seemed to me like he was able to hold his own for the most part this season. He struggled a little bit from here to there, but he's a growing player, a young player. He has time to develop. How impressed were you with his play so far this season, or this season?
I mean, he did an incredible job coming back. After he played his rookie year, played a lot of snaps his rookie year. He came back stronger. He came back more determined, and that's the unique part about him. He played both sides, and it's not ideal, but at the end of the day, there's not enough quality offensive linemen to go around 32 NFL teams. People make mistakes drafting guys in the first round, the second round, and don't get the level of performance that we got from Steele. So that's exciting because it's just who the young man is. Like, he's determined. He got a little nasty with him. He's long, he's athletic, and he got stronger. And he doesn't say a word. He's got that offensive line mentality, and he's got a great veteran group to learn from when you watch Tyron Smith and Zach Martin and LC. You understand what it takes to be a pro, and then you got to take it upon yourself as a young man, which he did, to come in his weight room and get stronger and do all the things it took to play at a high level. And I think he's going to be a surprising player for us, young player for us, as we continue to go forward.
I was converted. I mean, last year I was down on Steele, and I was like, oh, man, I hope it, right? Because your confidence goes away all of a sudden when you start struggling like that. We've all been through it. And then this year, just to see him, to know what he had to go through in order to get as good as he was this year. Like, people don't understand that, bro. That's a year of it, and then you also have to be vulnerable enough to put yourself back out there and say, listen, I still might get beat, right? But I'm gonna trust the work that I did in the offseason, and it's gonna work.
That's the dogs that we're trying to find when we started the deal. I mean, it's guys like y'all. As you continue to grow, people might have ability, but you got to find out what's on the inside. You're not gonna know what's on the inside until you get to experience it with them. You get to find out. You get to put them in the trenches. It doesn't matter. You get some guys drafted. I love this time of year because you got all these big draft boards and people, they don't know anything about that person. We're trying to figure out about that person and see if they got the Terrence Steele or they got the Micah Parsons, that kind of stuff, and or the Danny McClay or the Barry Church. That's the stuff that we're looking for that makes a difference.
Does Drake have that? Because I know you don't like to listen to Drake. Do you like Drake?
No, I'm not. I got that more from Jay-Z, when he's talking about, coming from the struggle and how you not lollipops.
Let him know. No, that's Lil Wayne. Okay, so we do verses, and we do verses. I'm Jay-Z over Lil Wayne, and he's not.
Okay, but tell him why though. Tell him why though.
Because you cannot use the mixtapes and all that stuff, your albums. Because what I said is, when Lil Wayne drops his mixtapes, he goes off other people's beats, and he also kind of steals a little part of what they were talking about in the song.
You taking the man's strengths. That's his strengths, his mixtapes.
That's some people got out of school by plagiarizing. That's all I'm saying.
These get degrees.
That's all I'm saying. Yes.
All right. Well, we're gonna let you slide up out here.
Hold on, wait, Jay-Z.
Hold on. And I'm a 55-year-old hip hop head. I will, ride or die with it. Scarface, the best in business.
Oh, that's how you gonna leave us out like that. You heard it here, man.
I'm not gonna argue with. Listen, because I'm from Houston, so it's a thing. Okay, like you like Wiz and you like Nas.
This is true.
We believe that Scarface is the guy.
Real quick, off subject. Real quick. Burrow or Herbert?
Oh, Burrow.
Oh,
I mean,
that's why we.
And here's
he got
reason.
that dog.
That quarterback position that leads the whole thing. People want to follow Herbert because of his talent, and he's establishing that. Burrow came in a dog, got the dogs to follow him, and now look where they are in a place that you wouldn't expect the Bengals to be because they don't spend that money. They don't do that. And they've also been lucky, but he's got that dog in him.
You get sacked 9 times. You don't blink.
Don't flinch.
And your team they got your back because we're not going to say that they win specifically just because Joe Burrow, but the defense is playing harder because of Joe Burrow.
There is a Dak Prescott effect to Joe Burrow. When you get people to believe in you, no matter what, they're going to ride with you.
That's true.
And that's what he's done.
That's very true.
You just
he hurt
my soul right there.
Herbert is extremely talented. He's extremely talented. Yeah. When he came out, that was the one thing. It was like, hey, where is that at? And you see more of it than we saw in college. But Burrow, somehow, some way has that thing.
Well, on that note, we're gonna take our next commercial break. This is the Players Lounge. Thank you, Will, for stopping by. Brought to you by Hotels.com at the SWBC studios. Thank you once again, Will.
All right, brother.
It's game day. You know what that means. First, kebab prep. Steak, pepper, onion, steak, pepper, onion. Next, a counterclockwise lap around the room. Now the lucky grease-stained jersey goes on. And lastly, the dance. You know the one. This is a game day ritual no matter where you are. Whether you're traveling to the game or watching from your favorite vacation spot, book a place to stay on Hotels.com and keep the tradition alive and well. Hotels.com, proud partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Want to use what the pros use? How about the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys? Jack Black. Right now you can get the Jack Black Starter, a curated collection of Cowboys locker room favorites for just $10 with free shipping. The starter includes 4 Jack Black skincare favorites plus a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Go to getjackblack.com/Cowboys and use the code word TEAMJB. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys. The Jack Black Starter, $10, free shipping.
At Smoothie King, we are blending goodness to fuel your greatness. Every blend is crafted to help you achieve your health and fitness goals. Smoothie King uses only whole fruits and organic veggies. You'll never find sugary syrups or artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives. And unlike some other smoothie places, there are 0 grams of added sugar in many of our blends. Smoothie King is proud to be the official smoothie of the Dallas Cowboys. Place your order in the app or online for pickup or delivery. Smoothie King, rule the day.
Brace yourself for an existential question. Has your butt been having enough fun lately? Have you been treating it well? Has it been going places? If not, then it's about time you start using SeatGeek. SeatGeek is the best way to get your butt tickets to live events. Just ask the thousands of other butts who have rated it the #1 ticketing app. So what are you waiting for? Download the app now or visit SeatGeek.com to get tickets to sports, concerts, and live events and make your butt happy. SeatGeek. Get your seat in a seat.
Back to the Players Lounge.
And we are back at the Players Lounge, brought to you by Hotels.com here at the SWBC Podcast Studio in the Star. It's your boy, Barry Church, the average box safety, joined by me. I can't even talk. Joined. I sound like new y'all here.
That's because Justin Herbert got you messed up around here.
Will done hurt me. I'm joined by the ultimate survivor, Danny McClay, but Will's words definitely put a dagger. Mm-hmm. Put a dagger in my Herbert argument over Burrow. Because, I mean, the guy's been scouting, 25, 30 years now. Yep. So, man, that hurt me right there.
It's okay,
man.
Bro. You can watch Joe Burrow on Sunday on all the TV screens, wherever you want to watch. You watch it. You just watch him win Super Bowl MVP. And then I don't want to hear nothing about this year. Whatever. He will have the same number of Super Bowls as the great Aaron Rodgers. Just tell you. Mm-hmm. Just tell you.
Anyways, I didn't want to bring this up while we had Will over here breaking things down for us, but I got to get to the question. I got to ask you the question. I'm going to put my 2 cents in there as well, but I'm going to go with you first. 2 guys that, a lot of reports have been going around, may be here, may not be here. Let's start with the guy on the offensive side of the football, and I think you know who I'm talking about. If you were ahead of all of this, if you're the guy in charge of bringing guys back, signing guys, all that good stuff, do you bring back number 19, Amari Cooper?
I think the thought that we'll have to go into it is kind of something similar to what Will said, right? When we talked about Dan Quinn and you talked about bringing Curse in and you said, hey, I see this guy. This is what this guy is going to do. This is what he can do. This is what he's good at, and this is how we're going to use him. Mm-hmm. These are the same conversations that you're going to have about Amari Cooper and how you plan to use him, okay? How we have been using him, I would not. I wouldn't pay $20 million for it.
For basically for last year.
For last year. I would, if we're going to use him that way, from what I saw on film and in the games, I would not pay $20 million for it. If you are going to make him the guy, that guy, right? You're going to find a way to always get him in one-on-ones, put him in the slot so you can maximize his ability to run routes and make those kicks. If you're going to do that, then absolutely I'll keep him. But I feel the same way about Zeke. Like, if you're not going to use him for what he's good at, punishing dudes, so when you're wearing on them, so when they get to the end of the game, all of a sudden those 3 and 4 yard runs turn into 20, and you just gonna use his pass blocking ability, then I wouldn't pay him $90 million either.
I got you.
But if you're gonna find a way to maximize these dudes' ability and potential, kind of like a Dez Bryant is where I see Amari Cooper. Not going up to get the jump balls, but finding a way to get him in one-on-ones. Target-wise, right? And not just the targets, right? Because all of a sudden you see Amari Cooper get 4 out routes and he got 5 targets and 5 kills. I'm talking about those big-time ones like DeAndre Hopkins, Devontae Adams, that type of stuff. If you're going to use them that way, absolutely. If you're not and you're just going to draw up stuff and try to hit whoever's open, then it doesn't really make much sense.
So if you're going by it that way, if he, like you said, if you're going by that last part where you're just drawing stuff up, his price tag is too high at that point.
Absolutely.
You gotta kind of let him rattle on that one because you're not using him, like you said, like a Devontae Adams type where we know, defenses know going into Green Bay or when they play against Green Bay, Devontae Adams is that guy. But the Green Bay Packers know that as well, that defense is going to key on them, but they find ways to either put them in bunches, put them in motion, find some type of way, 3-by-1 set, let him be the single receiver on that other side. They find ways to get him the football, and he's able to prove dividends for their offense. But we just don't see that here with, Amari Cooper. I don't know if it's, the coaching staff don't see him as that, number one bona fide receiver, or what the case may be, but they're not giving him they're not featuring him, like a Devontae Adams, like a DeAndre Hopkins, like somebody along those lines. And I think he has the skill set, and I think he is, of the caliber player of those guys. Like, he can be one of those guys, but he just doesn't get the opportunities as far as big plays. Like you said, we'll see him on a couple hitch routes here and there, a couple slants. He might get a 8-yard gain here and there, but they're not drawing up plays for him to be that focal point of the offense. And I think you're right. If he's coming back on a $20 million, price tag, then you got to feature the guy. And if you don't, I think it's kind of a waste of money. The only thing that I kind of fear or push back on is if we let Amari Cooper go, if we let him walk, what is that receiving core going to look like? What is this? Because as much as I like CeeDee Lamb, he's a Pro Bowl player, young emerging receiver. I don't know if he can hold his own, by himself out there. I don't know if he can be the focal point of the offense. Defense is putting all their coverage on CeeDee Lamb. I don't know if he's that guy just yet. So if you take Amari Cooper out, does that hinder your offense that much? I don't know. That's the only thing that scares me.
I say that if you let him go, you're gonna have to find you $15, $16 million guy that you could bring in. But like I said, if you're just drawing up the routes to get guys open, then you just need a guy who's able to know offenses and know how to run it. If it's a zone, make sure you sit down. If it's man, make sure you keep running. You just need a guy who's technically sound, right? If you're gonna pay $20 million for a guy, that has to be a guy who, when all technique and all that stuff is out the window, I'm going to beat you. I'm going to put you in position. And we can keep looking. Dudes in the Super Bowl, Jamar Chase goes first round, 3rd and 23, 3rd and 27.
They going to him.
Hey, man, it ain't about drawing up Jamar Chase is one-on-one. All right? That's what we throwing the ball to. Back shoulder fade, and if we lose it, we going to lose it knowing that we went to our number one guy.
Look at L.A., same situation. They getting a 0 blitz. Cooper Kupp ain't even a part of the situation. He's just a clear-out route. Stafford drops back, hey, I'm going to throw this up to my guy. And what happens? They get the rock. They beat Tampa Bay. They go on to beat who they beat in the NFC Championship game? San Fran. They end up beating San Fran, and now they're in the Super Bowl. But they highlight their main guys. And, that's just something, if we see it, if we are just sitting here in the podcast studio, we watch practice, we watch the games, if we can see that, I know these coaches have got to be able to do it. So I'm kind of leaning towards they're kind of overthinking it or trying to be too perfect or too cute. If we draw this up like this, the defenses will focus up on it and they'll get him. There's no way this plan will work. Sometimes you just got to be like, look, man, our guy is better than your guy, or our guy is better than the guys that are double covering him. Force feeding the ball. Sometimes it just got to be like that.
Give the man a chance to make the play. These dudes want to go out here and show that they are worth that price tag.
Yeah.
And it gets to the point where it's unfair that we come in, we have to say, I don't know, we should pay the dude. And I don't believe it's his fault. I really don't believe it's his fault. I'm of the mindset of allow him to show that he can. And then you can say, all right, he's not worth it. But I don't feel like he's getting those opportunities. Same with Zeke. CeeDee Lamb was a first-round pick, but I still don't think that they are utilizing his skill set the correct way. You seen him come out of the backfield one time. I think it was a big gain, and we didn't see it again. Jet sweep. He's a jet sweep guy. This is who you should put in the jet sweep. Amari Cooper should be running him every time his man coverage. He should be crossing the field in motion because what we know about the defender is when they get motion, you can't press because you
gotta get all the way around people.
So you should, and this is what they do with Devontae Adams. Every time Devontae Adams come across the field, the receiver gets off, and you see him run an out route, you see him run a comeback. You get to see him have that full route tree because he's not getting pressed.
Yep.
So I think there's simple ways to get it done. I'm no offensive coordinator, but I just haven't seen that be done for a $20 million guy.
And then you look at Amari Cooper, and he has the mind, I believe, he has the mindset to where he wants to be one of those top receivers. I mean, we look in the offseason of last year, he came in saying, I believe I have the skill set to be a top 3 receiver or one of the top receivers in the National Football League. He came out halfway through the season. I'm not getting the ball enough. I can help this team win if you give me the ball. And we know his type of personality. He's not a loud, he's kind of the opposite, of Dez Bryant. Nothing against Dez. He was a passionate guy about football and about getting the ball and helping his team win. Amari Cooper, I think, is just as passionate, just in a different way. He's not as vocal as a Dez Bryant, but we had him in midway through the season. I need to get the ball. I can help this offense win. So if we do decide to bring, Amari Cooper back for this offense, hopefully they feature him. Hopefully he's able to get those targets and get those passes that a lot of the top receivers have out there. And if he's able to do that, maybe he can turn it into one of the, best seasons as a receiver. But if we just use him as, a scheme guy or, hey, just draw some stuff up, he might be open there, he might not be open, then $20 million is just too much for me.
This is why guys like Cedric Wilson and Noah Brown can get open, because you just drawing up the play, and we're gonna hit the guy that's open. Okay, they playing cover 3, so this is not gonna be open, so make sure you hit this dude. Nah, man. No sir.
Player.
No sir. The dude I want to be getting open is Amari Cooper. So they running cover 3. The dude who is running whatever route for the weakness of cover 3, whatever Amari Cooper's gonna be that guy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but I think he has a skill set to do it, but it depends on how you are going to use the guy.
All right. Well, so we talked about the offensive. Now let's go on the defensive side of the football. And another guy that, is still under contract, but, there's a lot of reports going around. Will he be here? Will he not be here? And that's DeMarcus Lawrence. Now, we saw, early on in his career, he had those 2 back-to-back seasons where I think he had 18 or 17 sacks on those franchise tags, got the big deal. Is still a hell of a player, but we just haven't seen the numbers as much as, back before he had gotten the contract. Now, a lot of that had to do with injuries. I mean, I know he was injured last year. This year, he went through some things, missed 8 games, I believe, to a broken foot. But when he came back, he was balling. I mean, he had a couple sacks, a lot of forced fumbles. He was just a terror out there as far as a defensive player. Now, his numbers might not indicate that. He's not in the double-digit sacks or anything like that. But the guy was disruptive out there. Do you think similar situation to Amari Cooper, high price tag, do you think he is warranted that high price tag and coming back?
I think his is different than Amari Cooper's because Dan Quinn is the defensive coordinator. And I think if you had DeMarcus Lawrence for the full season and he was healthy, I think you would have saw those type of numbers. Even if it wasn't 15, 16 sacks, you would have said the offensive line, they have to come up with a game plan to make sure that they know where DeMarcus Lawrence is at. Also, the secondary is getting better. And what we know, rush and cover work together, okay?
They do.
You got a secondary who's taking the ball away, they giving the D-line that extra half a second to get to the quarterback, then the D-line is going to be more productive. They're going to be able to get those sacks, get those hands up so they can get some of those interceptions. And we saw that throughout the season without DeMarcus Lawrence there. And we know the type of talent that DeMarcus Lawrence is. So I'm saying give him a full year with DQ and Aiden, and then see what happens. Because I think if the dude is healthy, I think he's going to get back to that form of like, hey, man, this dude is a monster, and he's a force to be reckoned with.
Now, he has. I'm not sure the number on the price tag, but I know it's high. I know it's a high cap hit. So
rushers are high.
This is true.
The franchise tag for Randy was like 18.
So it's up there. Hopefully they bring, if you can bring both back, hopefully. But I lean towards DeMarcus Lawrence. I'd rather bring him back than an Amari Cooper, just because the simple fact that, like you said, the coordinators, Dan Quinn's going to find a way to get DeMarcus Lawrence productive out there. And if he's not out there putting up crazy numbers, he's at least opening things up for other people along the defensive line. The Gallimores, the Odighizuwas, the Randy Gregory's, to have one-on-ones out there. Parsons as well. He benefits off of DeMarcus Lawrence being out there so he can have the one-on-ones. So I'm definitely with bringing DeMarcus Lawrence back, even though it's going to be a high cap hit, and at least letting him go out there and prove he's worth that value rather than just saying, all right, man, thanks for your business, but it's time to walk on. So I wouldn't want to do that. So I'm in the business of keeping DeMarcus Lawrence. When it comes to Amari Cooper, I don't know, kind of 50-50 because I'm nervous of what that wide receiver core is going to look like without him. But with that high cap number and him not getting the targets or the attempts or the catches that he needs to kind of fulfill that number, it's got me a little nervous. So I'm leaning towards D-Law over Amari Cooper on this one.
Yeah, same here. Mm-hmm. I'm with you, man. But I just, hey, Kellen, man, help my guys out, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Attempt to run.
Because next week we're going to have the same conversation about Zeke.
Yeah.
Like, it's going to be there, right? Because now you got TP, you got Zeke. You want to find out, like, what he still has left and all this other stuff. And I don't think the conversation should even have to be had if you do the correct thing with the guy. All right, he's not Alvin Kamara. That's not the type of guy that he is going to be. But we know his skill set. We know what he can do, and we saw it this season.
He did.
We saw it this season when you gave him the opportunity, especially before he got hurt.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of fizzled out.
Yeah.
Like Amari Cooper made some noise. They gave him the ball one game. It was a lot of out routes.
He's like, here you go. All right, now get out my face.
Get out of here. Get out of here. All right, let me throw it to Sid.
Sid, 4th and 10. Sid, I'm going to Sid.
Sid and Schultz. Dalton Schultz, the number one receiver.
That's it. Hey, my bad, Schultz. My bad, man. You proved me all the way wrong. But all right, man, it's 11:04. Our time has come to an end, a lot longer than I thought we would go. Shout out to Will McClay for definitely stopping by the Players Lounge and giving us his 2 cents on his role in the offseason and how he evaluates players. Once again, I'm your average box safety, Barry Church. Here with my boy. I'm all over the place. Newey, you know what, Newey? I owe you an apology because it's a little bang bang. Like, it's a little harder than it looks. But I'm here with my boy, Danny McClay, the ultimate survivor. This has been the Players Lounge, brought to you by Hotels.com. We're here at the SWBC studio. We will see you next Monday, 10 a.m., right? 10 a.m.?
Yep, 10 a.m.
10 a.m. We'll see you next Monday at 10 a.m. Thanks for listening.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.